by the obviously Lee Authentic channel. My name's Leah, that's spelled L-E-A and not L-E-A-H. And you are tapped into Continue or Not. So if this is your first time clicking on this video, Continue or Not is a series that I thought about and created where it's kind of like a 3 to 5 episode ruling on TV shows, anime, cartoon shows, reality TV, or anything of that nature that I decide to watch. Heck, even movies. I'm going to watch it to give you the opinion on whether or not you should continue watching it or if you should nod and keep it pushing and find something else. So this is episode 3, and this is about the Shadow House. So this is kind of a mixture of manga and anime. The anime has 3 episodes out right now, and then the manga has 96 chapters out right now. So I'm going to read the brief synopsis of what it's about, and then we're going to get into it and figure out if we're going to continue watching this or if we go not. So, what is the Shadow House? The Shadow House is about a faceless shadows nobles living in a vast mansion attended by their living dolls who spend most of their time cleaning up the soot endlessly emitted by their mysterious masters. This series follows Emilko, a young and cheerful living doll, and her master, Kate Shadow Sama. So, let's talk about the living dolls. So, we are introduced to 5 living dolls. Even though, like I just stated in the synopsis, it's a vast mansion. So, there's dozens of people living in this mansion. The mansion is actually divided into 2 fractions. You have the adult house and you have the children's house. It's actually connected by this corridor where none of the children are allowed to come and go in, but some of the adults can go. The adults can go to the children's house. But as you continue watching the show or reading, the adults really don't bother with the children. It's mainly the children wanting to become adults and walk through the corridor to become adults. So, like I said, we're introduced to 5 characters, 5 living dolls. You have Emilko, and her master is Kate-sama. You have Sean, and his master is John. Then there's Lou, and her master is Louise. And then there's Ram, and her master is Shirley. And then Ricky, and his master is Patrick. So basically, these living dolls, they wake up one day, and they're in this room that's they're in a box. So they're able to get out the box. There's a room where there's like a sink and they can wash their faces, and they get served food or bread every morning and night as their dinner. But they all their rooms have corridors into their master's home. And basically, they're trying to debut. So these living dolls are given to the masters that I just mentioned, and they are tasked with cleaning up the endless amount of soot that their masters emit, and they're tasked with being the face of their masters. Because these people are shadows and they don't have faces, they are tasked with having these living dolls be their face. So the living dolls, for I think it's like a few months at a time, they only meet other living dolls, but they don't meet any other shadow people because they are confined to their rooms with their shadow and with their shadow masters until it's time for them to debut, where they have to do these tasks in order to be approved to become a face for their master. And when I say a face, they take on the persona of their master when they're out meeting other royal shadow nobles. So it's really trippy because some living dolls, when they're just with the other living dolls or by themselves, they're very kind-hearted, they're nice, they're very giving. But when they're with their masters walking throughout the actual mansion, they take on their master's full persona. So they become very nasty or snarky or vindictive or conniving, and that's because they become their master's face. And in a sense, it's like, well, their master could do the hand gesture, they fluidly do the hand gesture, and they emit the emotions in their face that their masters are emitting, but you can't see their face because they don't have faces. their masters are able to talk, and some of them are very smart, some of them aren't, they're regular, but it's trippy. It's very trippy. I keep using trippy, but it really is kind of trippy how these people or these dolls are tasked with having to emit or become a shadow's shadow. So it's crazy. So then we're going to talk about the shadow nobles. So you have the royals, and like I just said, the house, there's two different houses. There's the children's house, then the adult house. Many of the adults have actually gone through this unification process, and I'm not going to spoil what it is, but it's some messed up stuff where you know what, I'm not going to, because when I explain, I don't want to spoil it. But basically there's a unification process or an adult process where once the children are tasked to become adults, they walk through this corridor and they begin to become adults. So the only children that are allowed through there is the star bearers. The star bearers are basically the overseers of the children's dorm. And the star bearers are roughly children themselves. They give me very like between 13 and like 18, but it's a group of five kids who are tasked with overseeing the overseeing the living dolls. So their living dolls are tasked with overseeing the other living dolls, and then the royals are tasked with overseeing the royal shadows. So it's so much going on, but they are the only ones that are allowed to walk between the corridors and meet the adults. The other shadows and living dolls are not allowed to meet the adults unless they're summoned to the adult house, which rarely even happens. So as the story continues, we basically end up meeting our main protagonist, which is Kate Sama, and Emilko. And then our antagonists are really the adults, the star bearers, and then we have great grandfather, who we know nothing about, y'all. I legit read 96 chapters and they still have not, like, we only have seen this man's hand. We don't even know like what he is, other than them saying he is the one who created the living dolls. So if I'm going to continue or not, I'm definitely going to continue. I think you should continue. If you can find the 3 episodes, definitely check them out. And if you can find the manga online, definitely read it. It's really interesting. I think the concept of the show is very interesting. Like I said a few minutes ago, living dolls are basically becoming the shadows of shadows. That is trippy to me. And it's also very like a lot of toss and turns, because the protagonists are starting to realize that the shadow house isn't as great as it's all cracked out to be, in that there's some issues in this house. So they are now tasked with trying to find a way to either escape the shadow house or dismantle it altogether and free the other adults and children in the shadow house. So it's definitely, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to get popular really soon. So you might want to hop on the wave before anybody else hops on the wave. But yeah, definitely check out the Shadow House. Again, it has 3 episodes out currently right now, and the manga is 96 chapters. So if you got time to read or watch it, check it out. So yeah, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic, and come back, comment, subscribe.